Hey everyone, it's Mr. Wild194. I hope you're doing well today, and I have another book review for you. What's going on? I got two this week. It's kind of shocking, to be honest, for you guys who've been here for a while, or know me from back in the day, or know me from my other channels. Anyway, I got a review here from one of my favorite horror writers ever. He also writes action thriller, which some of this book leans into, but this is a short story collection of something that ties in quite a bit to his famous trilogy that he created many years ago when I was a teenager, and I love that series, I'll get to in a moment, but it's actually called the Pine Deep Trilogy, and this book in particular is called Long Past Midnight, Tales from Pine Deep by Jonathan Maberry. Now, I love Pine Deep. I think it's amazing. This 370-page short story collection has 10 short stories in it that tie to that amazing trilogy that I've loved for so long. Years ago, I reviewed the first book on the channel, and I was going to review the whole trilogy. I got busy with my other channel too, well, my multiple channels, but mainly my Goosebumps channel, Michael Goosebumps Fan. And I never got back around to rereading book 2 and 3. But the first book, with the one I did review on the channel, is called Ghost Road Blues. One of my favorite books ever from Maberry, one of my favorite horror novels ever. It's great. It's only part 1 of this 3-part story. But this book in particular, man, the cover and everything, it's just outstanding. Then you got book 2, Dead Man's Song, which is also a cool cover. I like that one a lot. This is my least favorite from what I remember of the trilogy. It has kind of that middle book syndrome, if you will, where it's a little slow, but I remember it being good. It's just been a long time. I haven't read it since 2012, 2011, 2013, somewhere in there. And then we got Bad Moon Rising, the final book here, which is a little bit longer than the other two. Another beautiful cover. All 3 of these books are about 1,600 pages in total, and I'm going to tell you, probably the best book trilogy I've ever read in my life. Fuck Lord of the Rings, fuck everything else out there. They ain't got nothing on Pine Deep Trilogy from Jonathan Maberry. This is before he really started doing the whole action thing with his Joe Ledger series. Speaking of that, if you love the Joe Ledger books, Joe Ledger is either mentioned or starring in quite a few stories in this Long Past Midnight book here. Probably 3 stories in total, plus being referenced and cross-referenced and some other stuff. But the Pine Deep Trilogy here, if you have not read this, you are absolutely missing out. I had these recommended to me years ago. I adore them. One of my favorite trilogies of all time, of anything. They're like Stephen King without the fat. The entire 3 books take place over the month of October, and there's monsters and all kinds of stuff in a small Pennsylvania town called Pine Deep. And it is amazing. The characters are amazing. And mind you, by the way, a lot of those characters that you may love if you read those books, like Crow and Mike and Val and all of them, they show up a lot in here. They show up a lot in here. A lot of these stories are told either starring them or involving them in some way, or referencing them heavily, pretty much in every one of the stories. I love them, dude. I love those characters I just mentioned, as well as a bunch of others from the Pine Deep Trilogy. Again, if you haven't read those, you must, because in my opinion, you should not read Long Past Midnight unless you've read that trilogy, because it's going to explain the plot of those books and spoil them over and over and over again per every story, because a lot of these stories were not written just for this book. They were written and released in different anthologies and websites and stuff over the years. Some of them I read up to 10 years ago, if not more, and now they're collected here. Some of these stories, maybe 4 of them I've read before because they were included in another Maberry book called Whistling Past the Graveyard, a short story collection he did. And that was a good collection for the most part, but it has some duds, and some of those duds happen to be some of the Pine Deep stories that ended up in this book, just so you know. Long Way Home is one of them, Mr. Pockets is one of them for me. I've never been thoroughly amazed by those stories, so I didn't go back to reread them for this review, just so you know. But again, 370 pages. I'm going to go through and briefly talk about some of these stories, the ones I at least remember in depth, enough to give you one. The first story that Maberry ever wrote is a short story that I remember, for Pine Deep inclusion anyway, tie-ins, whatever, is Property Condemned, the first story in here. It's about Val and Crow and I think Terry and I think someone else, when they were kids, going to a haunted house in Pine Deep. Bro. To this day, that story is chilling. It is so good. I love Maberry's writing style. Again, this is kind of before he gave up the way he used to write with Pine Deep. His other series called the Rotten Ruin series, which is a YA zombie apocalypse series. It's amazing. It's perfection. It's like 5 books of perfection, man. before he turned into like the action guy and the fantasy guy now, his old writing for like this and his Wolfman novelization for the Benicio del Toro remake, dude, the dude couldn't do anything wrong. Everything I read from him I loved. And I still love a lot of his work that I read now. But he's not perfect. He's a little political now, so it is what it is. If you love that, that's fine. If you don't, whatever, man. But Property Condemned is amazing. Material Witness is a Joe Ledger short story. It's kind of cool, and I loved it a lot more when I was a teenager, but it ain't great now. Basically, Joe and the team travel out to Pine Deep to investigate something, a mystery going on there with someone they got in contact with. And it has a nice twist, but I don't love it, to be honest with you. I talked about Long Way Home, really about a guy coming home to Pine Deep. I think he was a soldier or something, if I remember correctly. I wasn't crazy about it. Three guys walk into a bar. This, I forgot to mention this, one of Jonathan Mayberry's other character series thing he's been working on is called the Sam Hunter series. And I read the first story that ever came out years ago. Sam Hunter is included in here, and he's mentioned a couple of times as well. I'm not a big Sam Hunter guy. He's basically a PI, a private investigator, private detective, whatever, that can turn into a werewolf. Now, I like Mayberry's spin on werewolves. This whole story was about Crow and Mike teaming up with Joe Ledger and Sam Hunter after Sam Hunter gets an invite to come to Pine Deep, basically. If I remember correctly, by Limbus Inc., which is another short story thing that Mayberry worked on and edited and stuff, which was kind of cool, seeing that here, seeing all of those characters in the same room. I like how Mayberry does the whole universe thing a little bit better than Stephen King does with his stuff, about having characters and storylines tie into the same world. But basically, this is about Crow and Mike and Joe Ledger and Sam Hunter teaming up to solve a werewolf murder mystery that's going on out in their town. That was fun. I liked it a lot. It's pretty long. It's like the longest story in here. It's probably a little bit over 100 pages. It's not going to be for everybody. If you don't like Jonathan Mayberry doing like Joe Ledger action stuff, you're not going to like the story, just so you know. But it was good overall. I would like to see it adapted. I'd like to see all the Mayberry stuff get adapted because I think it could be damn good. Every time they come close to making like a Rotten Ruin TV show or a Joe Ledger show, they don't do it. So I don't know what to tell you. On Lonely Roads, I'm not crazy about. Mr. Pocket's about a homeless man in town. Not crazy about that story either. Whistling Past the Graveyard I liked okay. I don't remember a whole lot about it, but I remember enjoying it both times I've read it. A House in Need of Children is a short story about Sam Hunter coming back to Pine Deep to investigate a haunted house involving a mom whose husband had died overseas being a soldier. And she has two, I think it was daughters, and their house is haunted. The spin on the ghost story here is really interesting to me. Everyone who sees this ghost, and this may be repetitive to us horror fans that love movies and shows and stuff, but just trust me, the way Mayberry is such a damn genius, they do some really cool stuff here with this story. This ghost, everyone who sees this ghost, it may be hostile, it may be not, we don't know yet, Sam doesn't know yet, the family is not really confident one way or another about it. But everyone who sees the ghost sees it as a different thing, a different person that they may have known. And it's kind of spooky. There's some really good stuff in there, man. Really enjoyed that one. It was brand new to me, even though I'm not a Sam Hunter guy. I liked how it was handled. I think Mayberry made that the best Sam Hunter story. If you don't like Three Guys Walk Into a Bar, the one I mentioned earlier with everybody teaming up from the different series, you may like this one. Even if you don't like Sam Hunter, you may like it. So anyway, the next one here is called The Trouble, which I thought was solid, from what I remember. I think this is the one where Crow and Mike team up to investigate some murders going on. There's a message left in a house for Mike, and he catches the house on fire and burns it down, burns the evidence down, but he and Crow have been kind of doing this because of the particular things that happened after the event called The Trouble in the Pine Deep trilogy that I just showed you earlier. And I can't tell you too much because I don't want to spoil it for you. I don't want to spoil the end of the Pine Deep trilogy for you. But The Trouble was mostly a good story. By the end of it, I really, really love the finale of it. It's got a lot of great action and atmosphere to it. It's really sad by the end. I needed a little bit more, though. I needed a little bit more closure on the ending of that story versus what we got. It wasn't perfect, but it was good. It was one of the better stories in here. It was solid, like I said. That's about it. The final story in here, I hated. I fucking hated it. I think it's probably the worst one in here. It teases potentially more Pine Deep novels. And after reading it, and after reading a lot of Mayberry currently, again, he's a little bit more political than he used to be. I don't want more Pine Deep if Mayberry is going to do what he did in this short story. I'll be honest with you, it's nothing against him per se, but I don't want what he has to offer nowadays. I want classic Mayberry that wrote things like the Pine Deep trilogy. I don't want politics. I don't want weirdo SJW shit in my Pine Deep books, because they never had that before. They were the best characters in horror to me for a long time there, at least in novels. It was so perfect, and you didn't need what he did here. Basically, you had this chick who was kind of young. She had a lot of history in her past that was kind of rough, and she meets a character from the Pine Deep trilogy. Mind you, this is post everything, so I'm not going to tell you too much to spoil it, but she meets a character that's a ghost from Pine Deep, and he's like that from the beginning prologue onward of the Pine Deep trilogy, so that's not a spoiler either. She meets this ghost, and at one point, it turns into white people bad. And it's so fucking lame. It is so lame and so stupid. It turns that character into a bitch. A crying bitch. And it bothers me so bad. I don't like the female protagonist of that story. I think she's obnoxious. She feels like a female Joe Ledger, and Mayberry is guilty of writing female Joe Ledgers consistently over and over again. Outside of Pine Deep trilogy and outside of the Glimpse novel that he wrote. I haven't read Ink yet, that's kind of a sequel or prologue or whatever to that. But outside of those two and Rotten Ruin, Mayberry is really guilty of writing the tough American, females as basically female Joe Ledger, and I can't stand it. It drives me fucking crazy every time he writes a character like that. This girl is like, personality-wise, not so much in her life experience and jobs and stuff. She's annoying. She irritates me. Her conversations with this ghost character I talked about annoy the shit out of me. And like I said, he ruined that character that I loved, that everyone I talk to loves about the Pine Deep trilogy. If Mayberry's going to do that, I don't want it. I don't want more sequels. I don't want anything to do with that. Now, to be honest with you, I'm pissed that I read that last story. But to be honest with you, most of this book is really, really good. I'd recommend it to people who love the Pine Deep trilogy, but again, only if you read the original trilogy. Do not go in there reading this. You will spoil the shit out of the books for yourself. You will ruin the biggest surprises about it, of that original trilogy I just talked about earlier. You don't want to spoil these. You want to read these before you read this. Trust me, the value is so worth it for that 1,600 pages. You will adore them, I promise. This is a good read. I like it. I like a lot about it. I just have my nitpicks, my complaints. But it's not so much about the book in totality. It's about each of these short stories being published over time individually. Now they're being collected into this volume a few years back. And it's going to feel uneven to most people. And it feels uneven to me, even though I understand how they were published. I don't think a lot of Mayberry fans are as diehard as I am that would understand that about this. So you just have to know where to start. So I hope you catch this review before you try to read this. Read the Pine Deep trilogy first. It will be such a blessing to you. It's an amazing series, dude. You'll adore it, I think. Probably the best characters in fiction in a long time. Easily the best horror novels written in ages, dude, in decades. In decades, man. So anyway, long past midnight, what would I give this book as a total for the rating? I have struggled tremendously with this because I was pissed over the final story, because of some of those stories that were collected in Whistling Past the Graveyard that weren't that great, like Mr. Pockets. I gotta be honest with you, this is an above average book for me. The new stories that I got to read were really good, like the Sam Hunter one and the Three Guys Walk in a Bar one. I really enjoyed those. The Trouble story was really solid. Some of the older ones, like Property Condemned, were really good. They always have been. But like, I can't help but feel disappointed in some ways, to be honest with you, as much as I love classic Mayberry like this most of the time. If I was being honest, I could only give this a high 3 out of 5 stars, personally. I want to give it a 4. I don't know if I can go that far. I think I love the majority of the book, or even like most of the book. Like at least 70% of it. but I don't know if I can give it that 4 out of 5. I'm leaning to it, but I would still go a high 3 out of 5. This was solid. It has some really good stuff in there, but it has some fucking crap in there too. And the Joe Ledger writing style of some of those stories, I do not like it. I think those stories are not bad per se, but I don't like how they're written. I've never been crazy about how the Joe Ledger stuff has been written the older I get. When I was a teenager, I loved what they were doing. The older I got, the more that series got worse. And so I stopped like after book 5 or during book 5. I don't even think I finished Extinction Machine. But anyway, what do you think about Long Past Midnight? What do you think about the Pine Deep trilogy? What do you think about Mayberry? Let me know all those thoughts down below. I would love to hear your thoughts about all of his different series and stuff if you're a diehard like I am. I need to read more Mayberry. I forgot how much I missed him, but I need to finish my reread of the Pine Deep trilogy and review those other 2 books for you. But it's just been crazy. I got a lot of stuff I'm reading right now. Comics, manga, Star Wars books, short story ebook novelization, or novels and stuff that I'm reviewing every once in a while. But anyway, 3 out of 5 stars for me for this read. It's a good book. I recommend it. But again, please read it after the Pine Deep trilogy. Do not spoil that series for yourself. You're going to hate yourself if you get it ruined for you. Thank you all for watching, guys. God bless you all. Catch you later. Have you read this book, by the way? What do you think about it? All the different stories. Rate them down below in the comments, if you will. God bless you guys. Have a good one, and goodbye.